Hello, welcome to my first Paralives speed build. This is the first thing that I ever built in this game, and I built it quite a while ago now when the game first came out. But this was me very much still learning how to use the build controls and just trying to figure out the best way to do everything like foundations and platforms and all that kind of stuff. This game is more versatile, I think, than The Sims in many respects, but it's also quite finicky, and there's still some like early access jank that is sometimes difficult to overcome. But I was doing my best. I still don't have a ton of experience with this game. I know there are many people who have done amazing things in build mode already, but I'm still just trying to figure it out. So I just wanted to do something quite simple, cozy, comfortable, something that I felt was in my wheelhouse, I guess. So I went for this little kind of European style cottage. I use the default green of these windows just because I like that kind of sagey green color. So I let that kind of dictate the color palette that I used for this whole build. So the interior of this ends up quite green, but I do use some splashes of accent colors and stuff. Yeah, since this lot is right on the ocean, I wanted to bring a balcony out here because in real life you'd probably want to take advantage of the nice views and everything. One thing that I don't like is how flat the second floor tends to look unless you put a platform on it. So that's what I did. And I also put a trim around the outside to give it a little bit more dimension as well. I also think the lighting in this game is a little bit flat as well. I think maybe I'm comparing it to The Sims in my mind, which has deeper shadows. But I wanted to add these little columns around the exterior, on the edges of the exterior, just to give it a little bit more interest, to stop it looking so flat, especially since I use that fairly untextured masonry for the majority of the build. I also went around and added some trim around the foundation, again, just to make it stand out just a little bit more. But the trim on the upper floor I actually ended up getting rid of because I thought it was just a little bit too busy. Around the front entryway, the doorway, I ended up placing this little ledge, although I shrunk it into the wall, and used these columns to create kind of more interesting framing around the door. I thought about creating like a little awning there, but I didn't think it felt right for this build. The floor plan was relatively easy to come together, although I did mess around a lot with trying to get the stairs into kind of L shape, but I tried many times and I play tested different configurations, but none of them were working. So I'm sure there are people who have managed to do it. I should look that up and figure out how they do it, but I couldn't figure it out. So I just kept the stairs flat against the entryway here. I did create kind of an awkward upper landing space, but like I said, I couldn't figure out a better way to do it. I did create this little nook in the living room with the intention of putting a built-in bookcase there, And I like the way this one looked sized up. It looks very intentional. I really like that. Again, I brought the green of the windows into the living room, along with a sort of deeper shade. It was a similar green color. And then I complemented it with some browns and orangey reds that I pulled from that little rug piece. I also use a variety of wood tones throughout the build. That kind of beigey color for the floorboards, but then I also bring in some darker wood as well as a slightly darker light brown shade. I like using a variety of different wood tones in my builds. I know not everyone enjoys that. Some people like to have all their woods the same, but personally I think it just adds a little bit more interest and also realism to a build to have a variety of wood tones. This living room is quite small, but it felt nice and cozy. I did play test it to make sure it was big enough for the pairs to get around and everything, and use the fireplace and the TV, and everything seemed to work okay, so that's good. When I built this, I was definitely, one of the things I was messing around with was like the size of furniture and objects, just how they fit in the space, and because I feel like that's something that obviously differs a lot from other games. The clutter in this game is really nice. I do end up using the same things frequently, so I'll be excited when they add more, but what they do have is already quite good. And I love the ability to just free place objects. That's so nice, especially coming from The Sims, where it's just a little bit of a hassle. And the ability to resize things as well. So easy. No tool mods. Just right in the game. It's very refreshing. So that's living room done, and then I'm moving on to the kitchen. Again, I use the default swatch of these counters and cabinets because the green just worked well with what I was already doing. I do change the countertops to a deeper wood tone, just to offset with the flooring a little bit. This one is too similar to a floor, I felt. Yeah, the only thing that I struggled with in this kitchen was trying to get the backsplash correctly placed around the cabinetry. I fiddled with it so much to get those dividing walls in. I ended up cutting it all out, but it took me forever to get them lined up correctly. And then I used this architectural piece that's supposed to be for an exterior, but I used it here to create a little bit more dimension to the backsplash and add a little more variety of color as well. I ended up bringing the same wallpaper into the kitchen from the living room. So I liked the continuity, but I did want this space to feel a little bit lighter, I suppose, a little bit airier than the living room. In real life, those big windows looking out towards the ocean would ideally bring in a lot of light, and you'd want to embrace that, I feel like, if you really lived in this house. I don't know when I do it, but I do add a bar seating area to the back of this island and some stools. I must do that quite late. I know the bar stools are not usable yet, but I do like the way they look. I honestly have no gameplay experience in this game thus far. I've watched some other people playing, but I don't have any personal experience, so I wasn't 100% sure which items are usable and which are purely decorative. I assume the majority of items I placed in the kitchen, for example, are just decorative, but I did test the microwave and it works on that corner counter there, so I was happy with that. Mm, I really like this little wood-turned lamp that I put on the console table there. This game has some really nice lamps, actually. That's something I tend to struggle with in The Sims. I don't feel like I like a lot of the lamps in The Sims, but the ones in this game are quite nice. Maybe that's just the benefit of being a newer game with more updated style, I suppose. That's also maybe a me problem because I lack many, many packs, especially the more recent packs in The Sims. But it's so expensive. I can't justify it anymore. Yeah, just I used that plant so many times in this build. That is one thing I would definitely like more of in this game is more table plants. I tend to use the same ones over and over and over. But they are very nice, the ones that we do have. Didn't figure out, oh, yeah, I went through and added radiators to this house. Thought it fit with the kind of European vibe I was going for. I couldn't figure out what to put on this wall. I think I ended up putting a little grandfather clock or something, maybe. But I don't actually remember. Yes, I do. This is kind of a personal challenge for me doing this voiceover. I'm not a very naturally gifted speaker, as you can probably tell, but I like watching kind of rambly speed builds, so I figured I would give it a shot. But I apologize with all my ums and pauses, and I know it's not the smoothest, but I'm trying. This back entryway is very simple. I just put the broom clutter in the little rug and then moving to the front entryway. Really like that little rattan shelf. I'm sure I'll end up using it a million times. I do like the wood texture on this bench. It's the same as the one in the kitchen. And I like the kind of little slightly rustic touch that it gives to both the spaces. The shelf I changed to a darker wood tone. And adding these cute little boots in the back hallway. Again, I'm using a lot of the same color pieces over and over. But like I said, I do really like the lamps. Like I like this little circular lamp here. Although the lighting at night in this game is a little bit strange. I feel like whereas the daytime feels a little bit flat, the nighttime lighting is quite harsh and uneven. So I hope they maybe do something to change that a little bit in the future. But that's okay. I do like the art style of this game. I think the slightly hand-drawn look of the paras and stuff is really cool and interesting. And I think it's a much better way to go than trying to do something hyper-realistic or anything like that. I think that tends to date games quite quickly. Plus, I find the kind of hand-drawn, slightly cartoonish look just overall more charming. This little bathroom, I wanted to offset all the green by doing a kind of terracotta shade. And the wallpaper I end up changing. I go for like a floral. I like the look of small little bathrooms with kind of busy wallpapers. I think it looks very cute. Although, again, this is very small. It's really nice to be able to use kind of like half tiles and stuff like that in this game. I think 1 by like 3 bathrooms in The Sims tend to look a little bit awkward, but this, the ability to just build off the grid makes this kind of small room look a lot more realistic. And oh yeah, this was, I built it before we had the wall towel clutter items. So I'm creating my own by raising up this accessibility bar and putting this little hand towel. But of course, what I also didn't know at this time was that using the transform tool can sometimes bug, and your objects will either go flying up in the air or disappear completely, which you might be able to see is what happened to that towel. I replaced it probably, I don't know, 20 times, but it is there in the screenshots at least. Again, I quite like this sort of tiny little, slightly awkward nook that was created by the stairway in what will be the office space. I really like kind of small, quirky spaces like that in real life houses. So I really appreciate the ability to do that in this game. One thing I wish we could do was change some of the color swatches on these book pieces. They're fine, but because I use them so often, just made me really want to have more color options rather than repeating the same ones over and over. Office spaces are some of my favorite places to decorate and build in games. So I often include them in my builds. Maybe it's kind of like wishful thinking. I wish I had my own office space in real life. This one is quite small, but I do fit in the bookcase, the chair, and little desk and computer here. In reality, again, I think this would be such a nice place to work. You look out to the ocean, get nice natural light in from those windows. I think it would be lovely. I don't add a ton of skill building objects in this house. As I was building it, again, I didn't really know the kinds of things the pairs need to use on a day-to-day basis. So I thought about putting an easel in here, but I ended up putting this little fireplace instead because honestly, I just thought it looked nicer. So, but you could easily add an easel to one of the outdoor spaces if you like. And I'm complementing all the green with this kind of red, orangey browns. I really like this color combination. It's one that I'm very drawn to and tend to go back to over and over again. Just adding in the lighting. And then we're moving upstairs. Again, I had this kind of strange landing area. It wasn't ideal, but I couldn't get the stairs to work in any other direction, so this is what I ended up with. I also didn't want to make the house much larger. I liked the slightly small and compact nature of the current floor plan. So I just left it. I'm not an architect, obviously, although my boyfriend is actually. And I had him look at this build and he agreed with me that this space would probably be unrealistic. But it's okay. Yeah, my boyfriend is an architect, so I have him look at and critique all my builds. Fortunately, he's very kind to me, so it doesn't discourage me too much. Yeah, I did add this piano. I noticed that pianos you're unable to put clutter on top of the pianos, which feels like a definite oversight to me. I mean, obviously you could use the transform tool, but it seems like you should be able to put clutter naturally on top of the piano. Mm. And this little room is basically done, and then I think I move on to this small upstairs bathroom. I went with a similar color scheme to the downstairs bathroom. I use the same floor tiles and then just a different wallpaper. I use these herringbone tiles instead of the floral. I noticed that the bath and shower items in this game are quite large. Like, that's a 2-meter wide bathroom, and I had to shrink the bathtub for it to be able to fit well into the space. It is perfectly usable though, so it's not really an issue. They just seemed a little bit strangely large to me, but maybe that's just me. Again, this is quite a small space, so I didn't do a ton in here, nothing special, but I just add a little shelf on the other side of the door and some pictures, and then that's it. Oh yeah, here's me trying to make this towel trick work again. And of course, again, I had to redo it at least 10 times. I don't know why, I just didn't give up, but I'm too stubborn, I guess. I used the little duck pictures in this bathroom. I thought they were cute, and they also matched the color scheme anyway, so I just went with it. And replacing clutter is just so nice. It's so easy and fun. I really enjoy building in this game. I'm so excited to see where things go in the future. Even though there is still a lot of issues, there's so much promise as well. And hopefully it'll just keep getting better and better. I did experiment with not green wallpaper for this primary bedroom, but I do go back to green in the end. I just like the way it works with the windows better. It makes the windows look more intentional, I think. Although maybe I could have made it work once I added the curtains. Maybe it would have looked better, but I just decided to go back to a different shade of green for this bedroom as well. Again, I was not being very adventurous with the color palette this house. I was just going for something that was easy and comfortable for me. And obviously being able to change the color of almost everything just is so nice. It makes things really fun and easy. I'm excited to do a lot more experimenting. I feel like I need to grow. There's a lot of places I need to grow a lot in terms of expanding my my horizons and doing things a little bit more outside my comfort zone. And I think this game will be great for that. I really like that little, it's supposed to be an end table, but I really like sizing it down and putting it on surfaces to use as a decorative piece. I think it's cool. Yeah, also like these small picture frames you can place on surfaces. Though again, I tend to use the same art pieces over and over again. I know it's really easy to add your own custom art, but I haven't done that yet. I need to go through and add a bunch of stuff, I think. For the children's bedroom, I kept, again, a similar color scheme, but I just made the colors a little bit lighter, a little bit more muted, I guess, just to make it feel more childlike, more pastel. In my mind, this would be the bedroom of like quite a young child, maybe 5, 6, 7 or so. I thought that rug was very cute, and the ability to change the colors on it is nice. And I really like this lamp. Nice lamps in this game. But yeah, there's a lot of cute children's clutter in this game, though I still don't know how much of it is actually tied to gameplay and how much of it is just purely decorative. That is one thing that I probably should have tested is I've yet to play with a child para at all. So I don't know which items are usable to them and which are just, like I said, just decorative. I assume like the bookshelf and the wardrobes are usable, obviously, but the little toy pieces, I don't know. I have no idea. Again, maybe I should have play tested that a little bit. But I didn't have a child para. I honestly haven't even really created a para yet. I just kind of randomized one and clicked through some of the outfits to get a look at things, and then that was it. It's not this kind of game. It's just not what I'm interested in. I'm much more interested in building. I will do a little bit of gameplay at some point, hopefully, but it's not my first priority. I love the little stuffed animals from the game Unpacking they added in. So cute, and I absolutely love that game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. So that was really nice to see. Still hoping we're gonna get some kind of sequel to that game in the future. Yeah, this again, I use this little rattan shelf and added some cute clutter. And then I think that will be pretty much it for the interior. And then I'll be moving outside. I always leave the landscaping for last when I build. I don't know why. I guess I'm a little bit intimidated by landscaping. I don't feel like I have like special touch that some people do. I'm okay, but nothing spectacular. So I always leave it to the end. Oh, but first I have to do the exterior patio and porch spaces. Again, I kept it quite simple. I didn't add a lot, just some little chairs and plants and a little table here with, I think I put a lamp on it. And that's pretty much it. I do like these little herb plants. They're cute. On the lower patio, I added just a table, some chairs, and I think a grill. I don't know if the grills are usable. I didn't test that. I hope they are, but I don't know for sure. I probably could have done something more ambitious with this outdoor space, but I guess I was kind of sticking to my comfort zone, so I was trying to do something quick and easy. Now I think I'm gonna finally move on to the landscaping. This lot had a bug that left that there's like one little weed in the yard that you can't get rid of, or couldn't at this time. I think you can now, but I didn't know that going into this, so it's just there. I tried several times to delete it and nothing worked, so I just left it. I kept the landscaping quite simple. I use pretty much the same, maybe 5 plants over and over. I do really like these climbing roses that I intended from the beginning to be placed here on the exterior. Just think it definitely added to the warmth and coziness in this build. Um, but otherwise, yeah, I just use the same few bushes repeated. I use these paving stones to create a path to the front and also in the back. And I have this quite long, awkward wall space along the left side of the building there, but in reality, it just faces a cliff, so you probably wouldn't need a lot of windows, and it didn't work out to put windows on that side of the house anyway, so I just stuck a bunch of bushes and trees over there and called it a day. Obviously, placing the pavers on this sloped terrain was not ideal, but I managed to make it look okay using the transform tool. Unfortunately, they stayed there, so that's nice. Being over plants from the front to the back, adding in some vines and more roses, hydrangeas. I don't know if hydrangeas really come in that sort of corally pink color, but I liked the color. I thought it complemented the exterior well. And then that's pretty much it. Again, as I said, it's a very simple build. Nothing spectacular, just having fun with it, building something hopefully that's cute, charming, and that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you later. Bye.